Hey guys, James here. I'm one of the founders of Cortex Education. And as many of you know, my life's work is to help people live more thoughtful and intentional lives. And I happen to work with high school students who are kind of gearing up to go through the college admissions process, because that's a big turning point where you have to make some big decisions about what you want to do with the rest of your life. So recently I've been reading a book called The Black Swan by Nassim Taleb. Very interesting guy. He's very controversial, and I think all the criticisms and all the praise, I think it's all fair. But no matter what your opinion is about Taleb, he's definitely a thought-provoking guy. And one of the ideas I like the most from The Black Swan is the idea that in life there are many domains, many types of events that are just inherently not predictable. And the idea is that, when things are not predictable, that doesn't mean that you can't do anything about it. What it means is that you should position yourself to take advantage of the unpredictable events when they happen. You have to be ready to go, to capitalize on those events. And this idea of undefined or ill-defined outcomes also came up in my work with my students this week. This concept actually came up as we were talking about how the culture of school really tells you to just avoid mistakes, right? Because there's a very specific outcome for each assignment that you're trying to achieve. Whereas in life, things work differently, right? Where the things that you're trying to achieve are ultimately unknowable. And in fact, that's the way I believe it should be for the vast majority of us. And one of the best ways that I've seen this concept phrased is that you should live an interesting story, not a perfect story. And that's from Drew Houston, founder of Dropbox. If you watched the very first video on my channel, you'll recognize that name. I just happen to like the way that Drew packages a lot of this wisdom. He's a really smart guy and really pithy. So your goal is to live an interesting life, not a perfect one. I have a strong belief that if you can accurately predict what you're going to be doing 5 or 10 years from now, and this especially relates to younger folks, where it's even easier to have kind of this open-minded attitude about what your life is going to look like. If you can accurately predict that means you're not dreaming hard enough. You're not working hard enough to really fulfill your potential, because honestly, your imagination should not be able to accurately predict how far you progress in 5, 10 years. And at the extreme, the shorter that time frame where you can accurately predict something, the better. And I can tell you that in my most exciting times as an entrepreneur and educator, in those most exciting time frames, I couldn't predict what would happen next week. Right, I could hardly predict what would happen 2 days from the current day, and that's how dynamic things were. And I'm not saying that has to be true of everybody, where things are changing, by the day, by the week. But at a minimum, if you look 10 years into the future, you're like, I want to do X, Y, Z, and you just achieve that exact path. Really think to yourself, is this the right approach for me? Am I trying to just achieve this perfectly crafted life, or am I living an interesting one? As far as we know, we get just one of these stays on Earth, and so you want to make the most of it. And I don't think that excuses things like YOLO, and just blow off all your responsibilities. What I do think that means, though, is positioning yourself mentally, physically, financially, whatever it is, to take advantage of the crazy vicissitudes and interesting things that happen in life. I've really gravitated to the metaphor of surfing these days, even though I don't surf. But I imagine that life is something like that, where you don't know what the wave is going to look like, but you're ready to surf the next turn in the wave, right? I personally find that that's the most interesting way to live. So hopefully you liked this video, and maybe it gave you something to think about. You absolutely don't have to agree with me at all, but hopefully this is a little bit thought-provoking so that you can think about your own situation and what matters to you. What kind of life do you want to have? And if you liked it, if it was thought-provoking, hit the like button down below. It really helps me as a new YouTube content creator. Again, my life's work is to help people figure out how to live life thoughtfully and intentionally, and this is part of that overall mission. So thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.